And we have breaking news right now. New York City Mayor Eric Adams is speaking for the first time since the Department of Justice told federal prosecutors to drop the criminal case against him. Let's listen.
My fellow New Yorkers, as you may have heard, the Department of Justice has directed that the case against me be dismissed, finally ending a months-long saga that put me, my family, and this city through an unnecessary ordeal. As I said from the outset, I never broke the law, and I never would. I would never put any personal benefit above my solemn responsibility as your mayor. It is worth repeating the facts because many sensational and false claims have been made. So let me be clear. I never ask anyone to break the law on my behalf or on behalf of my campaign. Never. And I absolutely never traded my power as an elected official for any personal benefit. No witness ever came forward publicly to make claims against me. None of the baseless threats from prosecutors of new charges and new evidence ever materialized. And this case will no longer continue.
All right, so I want to pivot to a different video. So just wanted to give y'all that so Mayor Eric Adams can talk. But what's going on is that a lot of Democrats are now, because they're saying, and I'm sure my dad will text me, the issue is whether it's the charges are dropped with prejudice or without prejudice. I believe that it's without prejudice, which means that after Mayor Eric Adams, let's say that Trump, I believe that they dropped the charges saying that it's preventing him from being able to do his job well, to get rid of the illegal migrants, a bunch of other issues. And what they're saying is that Donald Trump's, if Mayor Eric Adams doesn't fall in line with what Donald Trump wants him to do, a lot of people, or they can bring up the charges again. And a lot of people are sitting here saying that, oh, well, Mayor Eric Adams, he's now just in Donald Trump's pocket because Donald Trump is using the DOJ to get some type of leverage on Mayor Eric Adams. So I had a bunch of questions. Why are we calling out Trump leveraging the Department of Justice for control over Eric Adams now, but we never called out Joe Biden's Department of Justice for bringing the charges against Mayor Eric Adams in the first place? This is the hypocrisy. You're only calling it out when it's in your favor to call it out. You're only calling it out when you want to highlight, oh, this is something that Donald Trump did. Donald Trump's using his leverage. Well, what do you think Joe Biden's Department of Justice was doing when they brought the charges against Mayor Eric Adams? The charges that he's getting accused of stem from even before he was mayor. But they brought out charges when? They brought out charges against Mayor Eric Adams when he called out the sanctuary cities, when he called out Joe Biden and Kamala Harris sending all the migrants to New York City, and he was saying that this issue is going to destroy New York City. We've played plenty of Mayor Eric Adams interviews on here. We've covered this topic for a very long time on here. Why are people now just saying, well, now he's in Trump's pocket? So you're okay with Mayor Eric Adams being in Joe Biden's pocket, or you're okay. And to be totally honest, Mayor Eric Adams, he had the courage to actually speak out against Joe Biden and what the Democrats were pushing while Joe Biden was still in office. Donald Trump was not president when Mayor Eric Adams first started coming out saying that this issue is going to destroy New York City, and started calling out Democrats for pushing this sanctuary city thing, for pushing all of the migrants to come into these cities that do not have the infrastructure, and for taking resources away from New York citizens and American citizens by giving them to the migrants that were coming in. And he was talking about how much money and how that's impacting the city in a very terrible way. He said it would bankrupt the city and destroy New York City. So when Mayor Eric Adams comes out and says these things about the biggest city in the world, perhaps the most important city in the world right now, New York, Joe Biden's Department of Justice. Now, I don't even think it was Joe Biden, to be totally honest. We all understand, or I don't know if all of us understand, Joe Biden wasn't the president. It is what it is. We've heard people from his party across the board. You can just look at him. He wasn't in charge. Mayor Eric Adams said that when he would go down there to try to talk to Joe Biden, everybody else would try to dominate the conversation, and he couldn't even get a word with Joe Biden, that it was other people running it. So where was all this outrage when Joe Biden's DOJ was leveraging their power against Mayor Eric Adams because he wasn't being a good Democrat and following those rules? But now we have this fake outrage for Mayor Eric Adams and Donald Trump because now we're saying, well, he has to do what Trump, tells him to do. Mayor Eric Adams was already aligned with this way of thinking before Donald Trump was in office. So it is what it is. And in case y'all didn't know, that's how a lot of these politics work. It's all about leverage. So I don't know. Y'all tell me what y'all thoughts are. Let me make sure that I catch up with the comments. Y'all over here tripping, man. You reading all these comments. Shout out to Big Bro Doug in the building. Rule number one, uncompetitive rule number one, it's always Trump's fault. That's a fact. Everything is blamed on Trump. So I'm going to play a little bit of this clip from, do I even want to play this Rachel Maddow clip? No, I don't even need to play the Rachel Maddow clip. It was pretty much just saying everything that I already just said. And shout out to my brother Urs in the building, Grand Rising. But we just need to ask ourselves. And when we go to the pastor conversation, I think it's going to come up. But I just see the hypocrisy. And it's just like, damn, y'all hate Donald Trump so much that y'all just excuse all the behavior of all the Democrats. And that is exactly the reason why, when you excuse all of the behavior, that is why they feel they can put these crazy ideologies with the wokeness and everything else. And the thing that we just saw in the first video, this is why they feel so comfortable doing it, because you guys excuse everything. This is why Joe Biden said that you ain't black unless you vote for me, because you excuse everything. You allow the Democratic Party to walk all over you, to control you, to manipulate you, to bamboozle you. For what? For what? And they don't even do anything for you. Malcolm X said it. And what's so wild is a lot of, and I have to say it, a lot of my parents' generation, the men that I speak to, the men in my parents' generation that I speak to, they very much liked Malcolm X. Very much like Malcolm X. I was raised on, well, being more like Malcolm than Martin, just being totally honest. But I don't understand why this same generation of men that lean towards Malcolm don't recall what Malcolm said about the Democratic Party. Malcolm X, let me read y'all this quote. Hold on. Let me read y'all this quote. I said it the other day. Malcolm X said, "The white liberal is the worst enemy to America and the worst enemy to the black man." And y'all saw the video that I played last week where he was talking about the white liberals, the wolf. The liberals are the wolf. And he said there's no Democrat versus Republican. It's just liberal versus conservative. But I don't understand why now, in your older age with more wisdom, you now forget all the things that Malcolm was saying and just excuse every little thing that the Democratic Party has done when nothing has changed. Al Sharpton's still preaching the same thing that he was preaching 30, 40 years, 50 years ago. We're still talking about the same problems. We're still singing "We Shall Overcome" and all the other Negro spirituals. Nothing has changed. But for whatever reason, the men in my parents' generation, they just see things totally different. Y'all were the ones putting us on Malcolm. How did things change so much? How did y'all just become these people that just excuse every little thing that the Democratic Party does? I really don't understand it. Ebony wrote, "They just hate, period. Nasty spirit on that side." Vons wrote, "They really got our parents' generation." It's a fact, yo. I wish our parents' generation, and I get it, we all have different experiences. So we do have to give our parents' generation some grace because their experience was different than us, to where when certain things happen in the world today, it may trigger them to become more emotional or more upset about certain things than us, because we didn't have the experience that they had necessarily growing up. We didn't hear the stories that they may have heard from their parents about racism and the things that they went through. I totally understand and want to give grace to that. However, the grace has to be limited when we're moving in a direction that just doesn't make sense. The grace has to be limited. I don't know what I just don't understand why our parents excuse the behavior of the Democrats when the Democrats have never done any. I asked y'all before. I asked the question. I listed and I sent it to the group chat. I think I sent it to our group chat. Vaughn's Queez is in the group chat. They can attest to this. Bez is in the group chat as well. I sent a list that I just wrote out of my thoughts. Out of my thoughts, I sent a list of the things that have been accomplished, and I read the list to you guys as well on the show so far since Trump's been elected. And I asked the question, can you guys give me anything? Like, can anybody give me anything? And I've asked people like in real life, outside the text message as well. Can you give me anything that you're proud of or that you can identify that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris accomplished in 4 years compared to this long list of things that Trump has accomplished just since being elected? Nobody can give me anything. And I don't understand why you continue to support. Why are you continuously sending your money somewhere where they're not sending you a product back? It's like buying something on Amazon. You continue to pay for this product. They're not sending it. Go with another store. They're not sending you anything. I don't know. When I speak, Ebony wrote, when I speak on that to people, they literally say they rather deal with the wolf in sheep's clothing than face the wolf head on. I guess, Ebony, I don't know. To each their own. So that we'll leave that conversation right there with Mayor Eric Adams.